I am so happy that Mike Burns and Bill Lawrence got to make another movie together with Bruce Willis. I am so excited. Yeah, it's Wrong Place. Directed by Mike Burns and written by Bill Lawrence. It stars Texas Battle, Ashley Greene, and Bruce Willis. What's it about? Well, that is hard to explain because this movie takes forever and it's dumb. But the general gist of it is some dumb criminal whose dad got arrested doesn't want Bruce Willis to talk about it, so goes after him and does this. And, his way of doing that is to go after the daughter and her girlfriend. And that's the movie. And stuff happens. Really dumb stuff. Okay, so Bruce Willis is an ex-cop in this. Yep, that's a check. That's something that's in a lot of these. Yep. 2, he's got a wife. And I'm like, okay. All right. How long until she's dead. Yep. So there you go. So Bruce Willis apparently was a police captain in charge of the police in this area. He gets drunk at a bar with his missus. They go for a drive. He hits a deer and she dies. And so he's not allowed to be the captain sheriff dude anymore. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. The fuck was he doing driving when he's the fucking captain of the police? Anyway, she's dead and he's trying to move on with his life. So he's his daughter who's got cancer. And he becomes the security guard for a pawn shop. PAWN shop. And I'm like, really? Are things so bad in America that you need like security guards for a pawn shop? At one point, the guy who runs the pawn shop, he's like, we don't need security cameras in a place like this. Bruce Willis is all the security we need. And I'm like, that is stupid. You should have a security guard and video cameras. What are you doing? This movie has a lot of what are you doing in it. Because I'm like, what are you doing, movie? I'm bored. What's happening? Nothing much. Because, excuse me, bit of a wardrobe malfunction there. Someone in wardrobe's fired for that blunder. Let me record for this long with it rolled up like that. Anyway, Bruce is doing this pawn shop security bullshit. Goes out for a cigar. And there's some kind of like drug deal gone bad in the back. One bad guy shoots another bad guy in the head, and Bruce Willis arrests the other guy and waits for the cops to come. And I'm like, okay, the bad guy's been arrested, awesome. And I'm kind of glad he was taken out early because this dude, who's the leader of this biker gang who does drugs or whatever, apparently, because, we didn't see any of this biker gang, by the way. We only see 2 people in it, the father and the son, and the father gets arrested or whatever, sent to jail. He sounds like a cross between, he sounds like a southerner with a bad Cajun accent doing a Bane impression. I can't understand a fucking word he says, so I'm glad he's barely in the movie. So, he is dumb, unintelligible, and in prison. His son is just fucking dumb. The whole movie. Because they establish that they're part of this, local biker gang where they do drugs and all this other kind of shit. And so I'd be like, all right, we got to take revenge on Bruce Willis. Somebody arrested my dad. Hey boys, let's go take care of business. There's no other bikers or bad guys in the movie. The rest of the movie is just this one bad guy. Just one. This is an action movie, apparently. So Bruce is in the movie a lot in the start, which makes me feel like there's going to be a huge portion in the middle with very few Bruce Willis bits and lots of other crap. Yeah. Because the son goes to visit his dad in jail, and rather than them going, hey dad, what should I do? All right, call the boys, blah, 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 blah. No, they have a heart-to-heart and share fucking emotional stories about growing up and shit. And I'm like, why? Then we've got driving scenes with Ashley Greene and her girlfriend as they chit-chat and all this kind of stuff. Cuts to another scene, then it cuts back to them, and they're still driving. Just arrive. Just arrive. This dumb criminal that's, out for revenge for his dad and wants to get rid of the witnesses and stuff. He goes to Bruce Willis's house. He's not there. It's his daughter and the other woman. And he's got a balaclava on, right? So they can't fucking identify him. Oh, I'm spoiling this, right? Do you care? I'll put spoilers in the title. And he's got a balaclava on. He's doing his business. Anyway, Texas Battle, this cop dude, he took over being the main guy in charge after Bruce had his fucking accident with his wife. And he's going to pay Bruce a visit for some reason. And he sees what's going on and he gets shot. And so this dumb criminal, he's still got his balaclava on, takes the body, dumps it, comes back, and he's just like, all right, so here's what I want you two to do. And I'm like, why did you take your mask off? Why aren't you ringing your freaking biker pals? Why are you doing all this by yourself? And why is every single decision you make a stupid dumb one? Oh, Texas Battle, he doesn't die. I thought he did. It was a fake bullet hole, right? It was like one of those really bad computer CGI bullet hole things. I'm just like, well, if you're going to show him with a bullet hole in his shirt and stuff for the rest of the movie, just use blood packs. Hell, even ketchup would look more realistic than what you did. Anyway, he gets buried alive and he escapes. And the rest of the movie is him stumbling around. In fact, there was even a scene earlier where he's doing the swingers thing where he keeps making a phone call and the answering machine ends and he hangs up and he rings again. This time it's to Bruce Willis just kissing his ass and stuff. It's embarrassing, but he spends most of the movie stumbling around the forest, bleeding, talking to himself, and maybe just trying to find the plot. Because I was right there with him. Where's the fucking plot? And can we just follow Texas Battle as he talks to himself in the forest, please? Because that's easily the best part of the movie, and I was disappointed when I thought he was dead. Thank goodness he survived. This movie takes forever for anything to happen. It's not exciting. There's like only one bad guy, and I'm like, Like a couple years ago, if I had told you that Bruce Willis dies in this movie, that would be a moment of, yeah, fist pump, yeah, you suck, Bruce Willis, you deserve it. But it's really hard to make fun of him now because of the retirement stuff. But I do want to point out a bit of respect here for Mike Burns, the director of this flick, because apparently, like, he rang up Bruce's people because he made out of death. He rang up Bruce's people and he's like, hey, of course, you don't know I'm talking about telephones unless I'm doing this. He's like, hey, is Bruce all right to film? And they're like, yeah, he's even better than he was last year. Apparently he wasn't. And by the end of filming this, Mike Burns said he'd never do another Bruce Willis movie. So, kudos to you, man. That's, yeah, because it's bordering on exploitative by this point. Oh, it's been like that for a while. And these are kind of sad. He's not really good in it, by the way, especially since his daughter's got cancer and his wife died, and doing security in a crappy pawn shop, still no emotions and stuff. So, yeah, good thing was there was enough bad, dumpy shit in this movie that I didn't have to spend too long talking about Bruce Willis. Retire in peace, man. But I'm glad you're not making these anymore. I really am. So why am I still doing them? Well, they're nearly over. And I've done so many. Why stop? God, I wish I stopped. But I was in the wrong place. Oh, yeah. This movie gets a fucking 0. It's worse than Out of Death by a country mile. It's boring. Nothing happens. People talk about stuff I don't care about. They recap shit that happened half an hour ago, which I've already seen. They re-explain things that were introduced earlier, and I'm just like, yes, I'm aware of this. So just pay it off. You don't need to remind me. What is this, a fucking CW show? 0 out of 10. This movie was stank. Yeah, it was stank. Stank nuggets. Big stank nuggets. All of the nuggets with all of the stank. That's wrong place. Fuck this movie.